So you could have gone the other way, say, it's my mom. That's who I'm going to stick with. But those years that you did spend with her kind of opened your eyes. And then once you got to your foster mom, Jackie, all of a sudden your eyes are wide open. You're like, oh man, this is what it's like. Okay, well, I like this a hell of a lot better than getting cigarettes put out and my hand put on the stove. So you kind of you roll with that. Now, what was your mom? Do you know what your mom what her drug of choice was?
Oh, geez. Heroin, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing the spoons and stuff. So definitely that. Cocaine. I think it was, she did it all.
I've never seen a drug more destructive than heroin.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I was brand new cop, okay, the town I worked in was the pipeline from the eastern part of Essex County to Pennsylvania. Now you could buy a bag of heroin anywhere from $4 to $7 in the inner city and go out and sell it in Pennsylvania for $30. But they break the cardinal rule. They got high on their own supply. And my town was right in the middle where they pulled over. They always pulled over in one spot. It was a quiet spot. We knew where to look for them, and they would shoot up. So we roll up on this car, and I see 3 heads in the car. We get them out, bunch of heroin, and then I look in the back seat, and there's I don't even think the baby was 1.5, still in diapers. I never held a baby. I didn't have kids. Never held a baby. I picked the baby up, and it wasn't until I had kids that I found out how neglected this baby was, because as I pick it up, the diaper is so wet that it wets my arm. Now, those diapers can hold a lot. I've thrown my kids in the pool with a diaper, and it can hold a lot. So the fact that it was on there for a while, and I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, oh, my God, like, you're going to do this in front of your child. And that's when I first realized how bad of a drug heroin is, that it'll make you neglect your own flesh and blood.
Yeah, so I've told this story before, but one time my mom, when I was still with her, maybe 4 or 5, she brought me to one of these places where she was going to meet her friends and do drugs, and she sat me down in this kitchen. It was like a galley kitchen and just kind of a long kitchen or whatever. She sat me at the end of it in a stool, and then on the counter was a bunch of pornography magazines. And she told me to sit down and just read these magazines. And so I sat there. I read the magazines for a little bit.
Just the articles, right?
Just the articles, yeah. But eventually I got bored, so I left. I walked out into like the living room area where they were all hanging out. And to this day, I remember exactly what it looked like, seeing spoons on the table, tinfoil, needles, white powder, everything. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it's funny that they'll neglect you to go do their drugs. And that's what she did. She tried to just set me aside. And eventually one of her friends gave me a sip of his drink. It was like an orange drink, and it was terrible. I think it was like orange juice and vodka. Who knows?
Yeah, but it was orange juice, maybe methadone.
Could have been anything.